A very good afternoon to all of you. On the occasion of International Women's Day 2022, we welcome you all in the webinar organized by Institute of Company Secretaries of India on the occasion. The theme for today's webinar is Women Marching Ahead, Transforming Tomorrow. The theme reflects upon today's women who are educated, progressive, and undoubtedly one of the most powerful change makers towards a better future. As you all know, International Women's Day is about appreciating and recognizing the social, economic, cultural and political achievements of women all over the world, and also creating awareness on issues like gender bias and discrimination to accelerate gender equality. Friends, it's heartening to share that women company secretaries are placed at prominent positions in India and abroad. They are making substantial contribution to the society, government and the corporate sector. They have substantiated our belief with their success stories, turning up across the length and breadth of the country. Friends, today is an opportunity to celebrate the achievements of women who are playing an extraordinary role as leaders and appreciate them for inspiring us to achieve greater heights of success. We are happy to share that today we have three very eminent speakers with us who have achieved several milestones in their stellar career, and we are confident that their esteemed presence will inspire all of us. On behalf of ICSI, we welcome all the esteemed speakers to this webinar. Without taking much of the time, I straightaway request CS Manish Gupta, Vice President ICSI, to give his opening remarks. Mr. Manish Gupta, please.
Thank you, welcome, ma'am. Hope I am audible. Thank you. At the outset, I would like to welcome all of you for the webinar being organized by ICSI on the WPF topic on this Women International Day. The topic of today's webinar is Women Marching Ahead. Let me also extend congratulations to the women who is with ICSI.
Manishji, there is some disturbance. Can you switch off the video so that it will come better?
Hope I'm audible now. Completely each and every woman who is connected with the ICSI as student, member, employee, as a faculty, as a resource person, and today we also have with us for the member a very International Women's Day. At the outset, I also would like to extend the heartiest welcome to Madhu Wichman, who is a government nominee on the council of ICSI. Isha Khosla ji, who is a company secretary and also working as secretary NDMC, to this webinar. Friends, this International Women's Day is a day annually commemorate the cultural, political, socio-economical achievements of the women around us. It was all started in the year 1909, way back in the 90s, early 90s, when the need of providing the equal opportunities and rights to all human beings was first felt. And since then, this day is being celebrated all across the world. And the whole intent was to motivate the others and to shape the future of the women particularly. Friends, this Women's Day is in all its endeavors seeks to address the necessity to bridge the gap by empowering the women and give equal opportunity and status in the society. However, I personally feel and believe that all women in our society are already empowered, and they are the good learners, they are the good homemakers, they are good professionals, and good co-workers. Above all, they all are good human beings. In many sectors, we all have seen women are now being offered equal opportunities to work, and they are also competing with their male co-workers. At the same time, they have outperformed the males. Women have begun to recognize their skills and abilities, and they are ready to walk out of their homes and contribute to the prosperity of their families and society as a whole. just to share with you all that at ICSI, most of the departments are being managed and headed by our women. And those departments includes our HR, which is the most complicated as of now, academics, professional development, prospective planning, corporate communications, and international affairs. Apart from being in other leadership roles at the ICSI, every woman is having many roles to play on a daily basis as daughter, as sister, as wife, mother, daughter-in-law, mother-in-law, be it at the professional colleagues. Sometimes they have to be the boss in the organization, and they are very meticulously managing each and every such task. It is always challenging as they are contributing to each one's life. Yet their efforts are often unrecognized, unacknowledged, unsupportive. But today we're talking about the transformation as the theme suggests. And this transformation is often a difficult task, particularly when you have been programmed to think a certain way since birth. Because we all have been seeing this since our birth that women are there at home, they are the homemakers. They were less treated as employee or the boss position. But now the things are changing. Fortunately, women are now standing up like beacons for others to welcome themselves. Friends, the scenery of the world of women has totally changed. It has mainly happened due to the efforts of all women in the past. Now there is no space where women aren't working, excelling at what they are doing. Let me share a few names who have achieved name, fame, and goodwill with their dedicated efforts, inspired all of us with their journey. One of such name is C.S. Savitri Parekh, who happens to be a joint company secretary of Reliance Industries Limited. Another name, Hima Das, who became the first Indian athlete to win a gold medal at IAAF World Under-20 Championship. And despite of shortage of funds and all those difficulties, she could able to achieve the first position in that competition. Arunima Sinha, everybody is well aware of the fact that she was a volleyball player and mountain climber. At the same time, she is the first female amputee to climb Mount Everest and Mount Kilimanjaro. Mithali Raj, who is a captain of the Indian women's cricket team, and she is one of the women who has scored the 6,000 run in the Women's One Day International. And to add to this list, would I like to name C.S. Preeti Malhotra Madam and C.S. Mamta Binani, who happens to be the past presidents of ICSI, and our institution is the only institution which has two past presidents as women past presidents. Today, we are fortunate enough to have with us Sonal Goyal and CS Isha Khosla. Both are our members. Both have achieved their heights in their professional careers by IAS. And I still remember Isha was there in one of the MSOPs at NIRC. She had scored a 43rd rank in IAS. Today, we also have Madam Madhu Vich, who is a FML, is a professor in FMS, working as independent director in many companies, also the council as government nominee, and always advising and guiding the entire council with respect to the decision we are taking for the benefit of all our members and students. Friends, there is a saying that behind every successful man, there is a woman. And at the same time, behind every successful woman, there is only one person, that is herself, that lady herself. And there is no force more powerful than woman's determination to rise, and what exactly requires as a little push and support from all of us. At the end, I would like to express my gratitude and thanks to all the women who are part of my life, who are part of my profession, who are part of my journey as a human being to this time. We can celebrate this day every day by extending our respect in whatsoever we can towards the women. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and setting the tone of the webinar. Now I'll request CS Devendra V. Deshpande, President ICSI, to give his presidential address.
Thank you, Alkaji. First of all, let me welcome all the women company secretaries, students, and members to this webinar on the topic Women Marching Ahead, Transforming Tomorrow. So basically, on the occasion of International Women Day, not only the institute is organizing this webinar, but all chapters and regions are taking part into different webinars as well as physical programs wherein we would be discussing the important aspect, and actually we will be celebrating the important aspect of women marching ahead, transforming tomorrow. So the theme for this year's International Women's Day is gender equality today for sustainable tomorrow. So I think sustainability is one of the most important aspect of our profession or even the corporate world at this point of time. So whenever we talk about the profits, the earlier years we used to talk about profits, and now everybody is talking about sustainability. So it is all about sustainability and how woman plays a very important role in having this sustainability. I remember the good old days when our grandmothers used to keep some money into some small wallet of theirs at home for utilization of the same in difficult times. So that is the actually root of sustainability. So fathers used to, like my grandfather used to earn money and give some part to my grandmother. She used to keep some part of that money. So when we talk about men, it is all about profits. So they bring in funds, for example, and grandmothers used to keep that money for a future sustainability. So it is not about spending the entire money at one go. So these are the roots of sustainability, and I think women definitely play a very, very important role when we think about short-term and long-term planning. So definitely gender equality all across the corporates, gender equality all across the profession will definitely have a very good impact on the sustainability. And for having good sustainable profession going ahead, we already have seen there are for me personally, I think there are three places which I often go. One is my office, one is home, and another is institute. All three places I can see that we do have a wonderful gender equality. Sometimes even men are in minority, and like at home I'm in minority, but still for a better sustainability, definitely good uh, contribution by women will definitely help. I think International Women Day officially was started in 1975 by United Nations. They started celebrating this, and at Institute also we would be celebrating for the next week till 13th. There are a lot of programs which are scheduled, and today we have got three eminent faculties who would be discussing about women at workplace achieving new heights. So I think our own member CS Isha Khoslaji, who is a IAS officer and secretary NDMC, she would be discussing about women at workplace achieving new heights. Then we have our very own CS Sonal Goel. She is also IAS, our member, and she would be talking about women in leadership role. And lastly, Madhu Vij ji, who is a Central Council member, government nominee on our institute, and she would be talking about gender diversity in corporate boards. So I think for even company secretaries and for corporates, definitely women gender equality is very, very important. Few days back, I attended one discussion with the other company secretaries and a few chartered secretaries all across the globe, and everywhere we thought that the government is now thinking about 33% minimum as the contribution of women on the corporate boards. At present, we are just one woman company secretary is one woman director is mandatory on certain companies, but globally people are thinking about 33% contribution of women on the corporate board. So I think these are the way forward, and in India, I believe as far as today is concerned, women are well equipped, well supported, and they are supporting the entire economy and the entire ecosystem. So I think this is the best day to celebrate their success, their stories, and I should speak less on this particular day. So I wish each and everyone present today a happy International Women Day. And over to you, Alkaji, for further proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your motivating and inspiring words. Now we have with us CS Isha Khosla, IAS, Secretary, New Delhi Municipal Corporation Council. Before requesting her to address on the sub-theme Women at Workplace Achieving New Heights, I take the opportunity to briefly introduce her to the members. Madam Isha Khosla is an IAS officer of 2011 batch of AGM Union Territory Cadre. She has assumed as Secretary, New Delhi Municipal Council. Ms. Isha Khosla has held several important assignments in past in State Government of Goa, Arunachal Pradesh and Delhi. Earlier joining NDMC, she has served in the Government of Delhi in capacity of Deputy Commissioner North with additional charge of Deputy Commissioner Headquarter, Revenue Department. She has done BCom Honours from ARSD College, University of Delhi, and she is our own member of the Institute. Now I'll take the opportunity to request CS Isha Khosla Madam for her address, please. Over to you, Madam. Madam, I think you are on mute.
I have unmuted. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Alkaji because Alkaji always remembers me on certain occasions, and it is very coming back to our old days, to our profession, and meeting a fraternity member, which though we come across in our profession, but very rarely. So it is always a good opportunity to interact with our fraternity members. Though this is a webinar and we can't have a physical interaction, but we hope to have a physical interaction someday. Maybe in the institute, like pre-COVID days when there were hustle and bustle in the institute, there were so many conferences and so many functions there. Whereas Manish ji said, I think after MSOP, I have not come to the institute only because I was out, and then when I came, COVID was there. So I would look forward for an opportunity to come back to the institute and meet all the members again. On this International Women's Day, I would like to congratulate and wish all the women company secretaries who are present here, or Alkaji and all other members who are there, a very happy International Women's Day. And as the topic given to me is women's achieving height in the workplace. So as we see this year, the theme is gender equality. So gender equality, as we have seen, though we talk that equal status is to be given to men and women, they have to be treated equally. But what I feel is the most important thing is we have to understand what is the difference between men and women, value the difference and celebrate it. Because there are certain differences because physically also and because of the roles which are assigned to us. A role which is assigned to mother is totally different to the role which is assigned to a father, a role which is assigned to a mother-in-law, a role which is assigned to a woman as a daughter-in-law, totally different as the roles defined to the a men colleague or a men folk. So we have to first understand what is the difference. We have to value those differences, and then we have to celebrate the difference. I would start with a small anecdote. Like whenever we come to office, there are certain women employees, many women employees, and sometimes they say that I have to go home because my kids are having exams. So when they tell us, we understand that, we give them this. But when they go to men folk, what they will say is, "Arey yaar, isko to har baar chutti chahiye hoti hai." But in my this 9 year of this service, also earlier also 6 years since 2006, I am in a government service. I have never seen any. It's not that we are complaining. There are very few instances then when men will come and say that I want to leave for because my kids is having exam. It is not. Because it is because of the role differentiation which we already have, because mothers usually take this assignment. So there are certain differences which are there. So we have to value those differences. These responsibilities and differences are there, and they have to be factored in when we expect the performance from them. If you see if women can do multitasking, because at homemakers are doing multitasking as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter-in-law. Even if you are a kid, then you are doing a different roles, like a sister, elder sister or younger sister, whatever, as a daughter. So there are different roles which a woman has to perform, and because of that, they have the skill of doing multitasking also. So if you see, there are many women who have excelled in there, and they are excelling. Women are excelling in the workplace. Like you can see our finance minister this time, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman is there. So the stereotyping which was given to women is slowly and slowly breaking. But I would like to say it is not completely broken yet. Even if today we have to nominate a woman director, by compulsory, if you nominate, definitely people will be, that is a foundation they have to nominate, they will happily nominate. But given a choice, still there is a reluctance. Given a choice, if a woman go for vote, there is a reluctance. Because what people say is, if I go to a political stature, what will say is, this mayor, this person standing for a council election, or this woman standing for a panchayat election, her husband will play the role. So these stereotypings are still there, which we have to break those stereotyping at the workplace. Then at the workplace, and these instances, then only actual woman empowerment will take place. Because we talk that women, we are trying, the society is trying to break the mindset. So that breaking of mindset is still required. We are far, far below this. That's why we have to celebrate a particular day as the International Women Day, because it has still not gone to the level where women are still standing hand to hand with men. We as an educated class, we are aware, we practice it, but still if you go to a village, still there are villages where Parda Pratha is still there, Ghungat Pratha is there, still there are places where if you see that women are not allowed to go outside, or women are not allowed to go outside after certain hours. Even in our cities also, they are not allowed to go outside after certain hours. It is not, in cities, I would say it is not because of the stereotyping, it because of certain other factors, like we have to give them safe environment. So empowering a woman has to do, we have to do so much homework, then only women can get empowered. We have to give them a safe environment. We have to break our mindset that X thing can be done by them, Y thing cannot be done by them. So then only we can go ahead. Even if you, in the workplace also, there are, if I am presently in a corporation, so there are teachers are there. In teaching job, you will see there are so many women. Still the jobs are stereotyped. If you go to doctors will gynecologist and other will be women, but other doctors are mostly men folk. Then paramedics is always a woman. So still we have stereotyped jobs. Still we have gender biased jobs. So we have to break those gender biases. There are, so I will give you an example of Arunachal, where I worked in Northeast. They may be infrastructure wise less developed than us, but if you see women empowerment, that is more there. Women there are more empowered. Society are there more towards matriarchal rather than patriarchal, and they actually value women in each and every aspect of life, day-to-day life also. So that's why there you can see at workplace also women will be, you will see women in equal number. So today I was just taking the data of our organization only, that how many women are there. So again, as I said, in the stereotype jobs, more than 50%, like teachers, staff nurse are all women. But in other jobs, still we have certain less number of women. Because slowly now, women are choosing the professions which were earlier thought to be men's domain. So those professions they are choosing, we would, as these students maybe will be listening, we have to empower women. And second thing, what I would request all of you is to, along with women empowerment, we have to go for women entrepreneurship, because more and more entrepreneurship we promote, more and more society will open up, and society will be more receptive to be led by women. So like we have so many women entrepreneurs, we have to create more, but they are not as many as there are just handful we can count on our fingers. So, but there has to be large number of women entrepreneurs are there, so we have to promote them. I would suggest our institute also. There are now, because you are having students who will be graduating, like who will be completing their CS board. So there are standard startup India schemes are also there. So at least they can start. We can promote this, motivate them to start their startups, so that they also come direct leadership role and direct in entrepreneurship, giving employment. So they will be in this way they will be creating more awareness, and they will be creating more motivation factor for others to join the professions or the work. Secondly, somewhere today, few cities may, if we see, women are seen everywhere in all aspects of life. Now, there are instances where a woman has started even riding auto rickshaws. So we have to, even in the menial professions or even in the low-end professions, we have to promote equality. When a woman auto driver, you see, everybody is so surprised. So we have to promote that also, because as we see, everybody cannot be a professional. So we have to see women empowerment in all aspects, at all stages of life, and at all stages of employment also. It's not that only top level we want women leadership. We want that equality should be from down also. Like various other jobs are there where we should the women should be there. Like in when our freedom struggle was going on, so women were doing the same work what our men folk were doing. They were running hand in hand to dismantle the British Raj from our country. Similarly, we have to promote this, like art mein we can see women. But if you see carpenter, why not a woman can be a carpenter? Why not a woman can make furniture? So, like even in a basic job, stereotyping has to go. Then only it will be understood that we also have the same capabilities at all levels as the men have, and there is no difference between men and women. Though biologically or physically there might be some difference, so that differences because there might be some jobs which women can do, which men cannot do. So differences will always be there. We cannot remove the differences, but we have to value those differences, and we have to understand those differences, and we have to celebrate those differences. We should not try to remove the differences, because differences cannot be removed because two genders are made. So when there are two genders, definitely differences are there. That is why there are two genders. Otherwise, there would have been one gender. So at this moment, I would request all the members and including the institute to help children understand what are the differences, and to help them value those differences, and to respect those differences for upliftment of women at all stages and at all levels. With this, I would thanks once again the Institute for organizing this event and giving me the opportunity to interact with the lovely audience. Thank you, Alka ji, once again for being so lovely as always you are.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Since Madam Isha Khosla has another meeting, we'll be requesting her for few questions if she can respond to those queries. Ma'am, according to you, how work-life balance can be maintained for effectively discharging professional responsibility alongside the home responsibilities?
See, the work-life balance, as I said in my address also, a woman has to maintain a more stringent work-life balance, because once you go home, you have to take care of kids also, or in-laws, or parents, whatever. So, what I have learned earlier, we will go in two stages. One is pre-COVID and post-COVID. This COVID has taught us a very good thing. If you see, most of the offices have gone online. Even we have now in government offices also, we have e-office system. So there is we can strike a balance. Like there are certain things for which your physical presence is required. So you do those things in the office for which your physical presence is required. But if I have to read a report, if I have to do the files, I need not sit in the office. I can go home. I can do files at my home. I can read that report in my home. So this is how we have to maintain the balance. Whatever is absolutely necessary has to be done here. And similarly, like I said, the men folk have also to give this freedom, this flexibility of timing, flexibilities of days, so that they can women can strike a good balance between work and their personal life. Also, I would, on a lighter note, men should also take this personal life part also, so that we can focus more on work part also. So that balance has to be taken, and I hope all our kids, they will definitely understand. With the simple tricks, you have to set your priorities. When X is a priority, you do X priority. When Y is priority, you have to do Y priority. When you have to stay in night till 10 o'clock in the office, then you stay. But if you are your presence is required at home, you leave office, go home, then you can come back again. So it has to be we should not be so burdened that how to manage both the things.
Right. Thank you so much. Another question is, ma'am, please share your insights on the factors to be focused on by the young women working or inspiring to reach to new heights. You can tell us your story as well.
Yeah, so first is like whatever, we have to first understand what are your strengths. We always have to focus upon our strengths and what are our weaknesses. Like I just continue with that. Like our weaknesses is, suppose we have a small kid, so we can't leave them house. So that is our weakness. But what is our strength? We can take, if your strength is you can take decision quickly. You can take decisions more swiftly. So you focus on your strength, you take decisions quickly. The key to success is just focus on your strength. Try to bank on your strength, and weaknesses, try to overcome your weaknesses. First of all, we have to accept our weakness. If we deny our weaknesses, or if we deny any problem, there will not be any solution. So accept, yes, this is the problem in hand, or this is a weakness in us. Then try to work on it, try to focus on it. Like I'll tell you, when we were in Arunachal, so my first child was born in Arunachal. So it was a very hard area, and my husband was in another district, I was in another district. So you have to maintain a balance. You have to take care of kid also. You have to take care of the district also. So then you have to understand there is a concept of camp office. So there are certain things which you can do in camp office. But if we become so tense that कि अभी ऑफिस का काम कैसे खत्म होगा तभी घर जाएंगे या घर का काम करना है ऑफिस कैसे जाएंगे, then it would we have to understand and draw a line कि इतना काम आगे करना है, इतना काम कल करना है, और ये काम आज तक फिनिश हो जाना चाहिए. So this is how you strike a balance. और उस तरह से I am sure all our young girls, they will be able to find the balance between, and they will achieve good heights in the life. Next webinar we will be having some new speaker, so I would love to listen to them also.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your thought-provoking and insightful address. As a token of our respect and regard, I'll request our IT team to kindly display a Shaheed Ki Beti certificate for Madam Isha Khosla. Madam, it's respect and regards from the institute side. The money would be contributed to this particular fund, Shaheed Ki Beti certificate, and it would be contributed towards the education of the matches by the institute.
That's a very good initiative. I think a few years back, the institute have started this, so really appreciable. I hope the daughters will be benefited with this, and they will definitely raise a very high in their life. And thank you once again to all the members of the institute. Thanks, sir. It was a lovely interaction.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Now we have another speaker with us, Madam Sonal Goel, IAS, presently Resident Commissioner, Tripura Bhawan, New Delhi. We welcome you, ma'am. Before inviting you to address the members, I'll briefly read out your profile for the benefit of our community. Madam Sonal Goel, IAS of 2008 batch, All India 13th rank, Tripura cadre, till July 2020 on 4-year inter-cadre deputation to Haryana cadre. She is presently posted as Resident Commissioner, Tripura Bhawan, New Delhi. She has completed her BCom Honours from Shri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi University, LLB from Faculty of Law, Delhi University, MA Public Policy from IGNOU, and she is also our own member of the institute. Mrs. Goel has been selected in top 25 women transforming India by Niti Aayog, United Nations, and MyGov in September 2016 and was facilitated by many prestigious awards. She is also appointed as Honorary Advisor at BRICS CCI Young Leaders Forum for session 2020 to 2023. Now I'll request Madam Sonal Goel to kindly address the gathering, please.
Thank you so much, Alka ji. A very warm good evening to all the members present and a very happy Women's Day. It's indeed a very auspicious occasion. I just wanted to ask whether my voice and video is clear. Am I audible and visible clearly?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, so when we are discussing about the topic which I would be deliberating today with you all is women in leadership roles and how women are leading the way. We all know the International Women's Day is an occasion to celebrate the progress which we as women are making in our with different phases of life, and how the society as a collective ecosystem is attaining a momentum towards achieving gender equality. This year's the United Nations theme for Women's Day has been Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow in recognition and celebration of the achievements of women in various fields. If we talk about our country, India has seen how in our religion, how in various religion, women have been almost treated at, if not at par, but I would say at a higher pedestal, and they are the goddess. And if we talk about our society, we have seen a patriarchal mindset society from last many generations. But yes, of course, things are changing for good. In last so many years, in last so many decades, there have been changes in the mindset of the society, which is in turn helping the women acquiring and attaining the leadership profiles and the roles at various platforms. So if we talk about the world per se, world has witnessed the advent of women leaders. Women leaders are making their presence felt not only in entrepreneurship, also in administration, education, health sector, science and technology, sports also, and not only at the regional level, but also at the national and global levels. They are now resolved to break the traditional glass ceiling that earlier barred them from entering the leadership positions. If we talk about the representation of women in civil services, since I belong to that fraternity, I would mention that in India, as of now, even today, the percentage of women being part of the police is not more than 10%. And I think the percentage of women who are part of administration as IS officers, it is not more than say 15 to 16%. And if we count other services like the Indian Revenue Service, Audit and Account Service, then also the percentage in total will not be exceeding 20%. So we all need to understand the reason why is this happening and what all the society can do to improvise the situation further. Women leadership definitely brings in more gender sensitization, gender orientation. And if we have more women at leadership profiles, they help in creating gender equal opportunities, gender sensitive policies, and even the United Nations 2030 agenda, of which India is also a partner nation, the UN SDG Agenda 2030. It also talks about the importance of achieving gender parity. So if we are talking about gender parity, having women in leadership roles, we can today see women excelling in almost all the professions. I am very happy to see today the Institute of Company Secretaries having so many women company secretaries who are not only heading the organizations, who are working as practicing professionals, who are also becoming the presidents of the chapters of ICSI, who are also even, I remember Mrs. Preeti Grover, she became the president of ICSI a few years back. So all these things, and of course at world level we have seen Angela Merkel, Kamala Harris, Madam Obama, and how our own country has seen the women leaders in the form of Indira Gandhi, Sarojini, Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit ji. So all these faces, all these forces have shown the mettle, the grit and determination of women. If we see various profiles, if we see various arenas, so women have been playing various multiple roles. They are playing the role of an educator. They're excelling in their field as professors, as teachers. Women as part of workforce, especially during COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen how women as part of the health workers, how they have been able to not only portray their strength, resilience, but also they have worked with their grit and determination and helped the humanity face this challenge. And not only as part of the health workforce, but also as part of police, as part of administration, as part of various other services, women have shown their resilience during COVID-19 pandemic. And so as to say, women as global volunteers, not only in our country, but across the world, across various countries, they have shown their determination. And we all very well understand the issue that when women are empowered and when they claim their rights and access to land, leadership, opportunities and choices, economies grow, food security is enhanced, and prospects are improved for current and future generations. So it is very much imperative, it is very much important that we give that support, we nurture our young girls, our female, and we enable them to lead in the society. We also need to understand various issues which women are still facing. We can see inequality, whether it is the work front, professional front, or at the domestic front. The issues of dowry, the issue of early marriage, child marriage, crime against women, domestic violence, even COVID-19 pandemic, especially the wave one, the first wave in which the lockdown was quite prolonged. We saw how the cases of domestic violence being reported across the country rose to an extent. We also have seen the issue of female feticide, female infanticide. And so many crimes against women are still happening. And it is also one of the reasons we are seeing that many a times our young girls are not able to acquire their education, so as to say the higher education properly, because of the issues of lack of security, lack of transportation facilities, lack of access to the various opportunities at various levels. So we all, as collective part of the society, we all need to understand these issues and try and eliminate, try and reduce the impact which all these things can have in our society. India as a country, we have seen so many legislations have been enacted to eradicate and to reduce, minimize these social evils in the form of Hindu Marriage Act, Special Marriage Act, Dowry Prohibition Act, the Hindu Succession and Adoption and Maintenance Act, Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention Prohibition Act. Of course, we have PCP and DT Act, which prohibits and which makes it a punishable offense with respect to the selective sex determination. So all these things are welcome steps. Along with that, I would also, since I have worked in government for say last 13-14 years, I would also like to mention in brief the initiatives which the government has been taken. Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Abhiyan has been a program which has mobilized the community, which has tried to improve the gender sensitization not only in the towns but also in the villages, in the panchayats. We have seen how our government is working towards ensuring and improving the economic empowerment, the financial empowerment of women through NRLM, the National Rural Livelihood Mission, through Ajivika Mission. We are trying to promote the vocational training of women so that they become self-independent. And when we are talking more so about the empowerment of women, it is not possible unless and until a woman is financially and economically empowered. So keeping that in mind, Mahila E-Heart, and various skill development programs, the employment opportunity programs are being run by the government. We also have seen to minimize the issue of crime against women. We have seen how so many states have the concept of Mahila Thanas, Mahila police stations, one-stop center scheme. We have seen how we have the counseling and conciliation mechanisms which are available at various districts and state levels. So all these are a welcome step. And recently, in last say May 2020, Honorable Prime Minister had launched Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, under which the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, the emphasis has been to promote vocal for local, in the sense the self-help group, especially women's self-help group, are being promoted through providing them marketing linkages, to providing them training, through providing them entrepreneurial, to improve their entrepreneurial skills. And all this has been a very welcome step. But what we need to do as a society, what further we need to do, we as women, I personally feel that first of all, a woman has to have faith and belief in her own capacity and capability. We also need to support each other. So sharing the workload, supporting each other, raising your voice. It is also important that we all raise our voice against the issues which we as society are facing. It is also important that if you are being prejudiced, you have to raise your voice, you have to raise that concern. And it is not that it is only happening with you, it may be happening with other women also. So you have to understand that. And if we all decide that we will not, so as to say, tolerate, then definitely society also will not be tolerating. So we need to know our rights, we need to educate our children. So when we talk about educating, it is not only sensitizing the girls of their right, but it is also sensitizing the men, sensitizing the boys in the family, that they have to respect women, they have to protect women, and they have to give them an equal say in the society. So that is also important. And of course, I think the hand-holding, giving support to each other, that is all very important. And I would emphasize again here one point, that financial and economically empowerment is important when we're talking about the empowerment. And the research also shows that when a woman is working, when women earn money, they try to reinvest at least 90% of the income which they are earning. They would try to reinvest that money. So they would be more conscious about the needs of her family, of her parents, of her children, and they would try to mobilize the resources in form of savings, in form of so many things which may be helping the family and society. So women are entitled to safety, inclusion, fairness. We all need to improvise on that, and collective efforts need to be given towards that. I would also like to mention that in these years of journey, my working in Haryana and Tripura, I have seen how many a times women want to do a lot many things, but sometimes they don't get support from their family, from their parents, sometimes they don't have access to the resources. So it is important that if we want to have more women in leadership roles, it is important that we give education, we give skills development, we give vocational training. Also, it is important for the society to support and nurture. Last year on my social media handles, I would like to share that I started a campaign on which I requested the people to share the unheard stories. So by unheard stories, I meant that there are many women who are working at their level, who are facing the struggles in their life, and they're moving ahead. And not only they are empowering themselves or their families, but also empowering the other women across themselves in the society. So I received at least 8 to 10 stories, and one or two stories I would like to mention. There's a lady called Sheetal from Delhi, and she many years back she started making meals for the stranded daily wagers. And initially, because she did not have money and resources, so she could cook only 10 meals per day. But then with the support of other people, she could cook up to 200 meals a day. So this was a collective effort in which she was then able to help the daily wage laborers. And then this campaign became so large that it is now today serving around 7,000 to 8,000 meals. That is not a small thing. So this was a small initiative, small concept, which then got the support of the society. and people came into it as a collective effort, and this could happen. This year also, I have initiated similar campaign, and yesterday I received my first story about a lady, Parul Agarwal. She has been a champion in the cause of blood donation. So she has been advocating the cause of blood donation, and during COVID-19 pandemic, she has helped so many people save life because of her these kind of efforts. So why I'm sharing with you all is that we should not think that we don't have money, we don't have resources, how will we do? We just need to start once, and once we start with a good intention, with faith in our own self, things automatically fall in line. In my so many years of field experience, I worked in Jhajjar in Haryana, I worked in Gurugram, I worked in Ambasa in Tripura, I worked as a DM and collector Gomti district. I have tried that this entire issue of gender discrimination, how to improvise gender parity, women empowerment, girls empowerment. I have tried to contribute my weight, even though because of the time constraint, I won't be able to detail here. But I would just mention that we all have that capacity and capability within our own selves. So let us all salute the indomitable spirit determination of Nari Shakti on this International Women's Day. And there is no limit as to what we as women can accomplish. We all complement each other. We all should support each other. Let us all keep highlighting the importance of achieving equality for women and girls, not purely because it is a matter of fairness, but also if we are not moving in parity, there would be an imbalance. And countries with more gender equality have seen better economic growth. Parliaments with more women will enact legislations which would be more gender sensitive. It will have more social issues like health, education, anti-discrimination, child support, etc. So we all together can continue to be the momentum of change. Towards the end, I would just like to conclude by mentioning one or two anecdotes. So Swami Vivekananda ji had rightly said that all power is within you and you can do anything and everything. So believe in that and achieve your goals. So we have to believe in ourselves and keep achieving our goals. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar ji had very rightly said, उन्होंने बोला कि मैं किसी समाज की प्रगति उस समाज की महिलाओं के द्वारा की गई प्रगति से आंकता हूं. मैं किसी समाज की प्रगति को उस समाज में की गई महिलाओं की प्रगति से आंकता हूं. Even Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam had said that empowering women is a prerequisite for creating a good nation. Empowering women is a prerequisite for creating a good nation. And when women are empowered, a society with stability is assured. When women are empowered, a society with stability is assured. I would just end my talk with a Hindi prose कि कोमल है कमजोर नहीं तू, कोमल है कमजोर नहीं तू, शक्ति का नाम ही नारी है, जग को जीवन देने वाली तू सबसे बलशाली है, जग को जीवन देने वाली तू सबसे बलशाली है. So if a woman can give birth to a new life, there is nothing in this world which she cannot achieve. We all just need to support, nurture and empower our women, our girls, each day, every day. And each day belongs to us. We have to feel happy that we are women, and let us all keep supporting and contributing towards the nation and society. Thank you so much for having me here. A very happy Women's Day to all of you. And my best wishes to ICSI for all such good initiatives. I feel very privileged and honored because I belong to the same fraternity. And the love and respect which I receive from the ICSI family is always overwhelming. My best wishes to the entire team for your future endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your address and highlighting the various initiatives of Government of India taken care by towards the women. Now I'll be asking few of the questions if you are available for the questions, ma'am.
Yeah, I can take, I think, 2-3 questions. No problem.
Yeah, please. Ma'am, according to you, how to overcome the personal and professional barriers impacting women for reaching the highest levels in the corporate world?
So I think personal and professional barriers are also for men. So I would just like to begin by saying that we all have so as to say, a mindset, a prejudice that only women have to take care of the families. See, times are changing. We have seen how male counterparts are also now shouldering responsibility. I do agree. I will not refute by saying that, of course, women have more responsibility in the sense of the some responsibilities which have been given to us by nature. For example, bearing a child, giving birth to a baby. And these are the initial years in which you are settling your career and also you are settling your family. So many a times we see that your personal and professional life may not go in tandem with each other. At one point, when you are in initial years of career, you will be in field, for example, and as an officer, I can share that when you are in initial years, you are in field and you are supposed to have that sense of delivery of public service. You have the profiles in which you are being transferred regularly. And these are the times when you are also having your family expansion, especially after marriage, you will have kids. So this balance definitely needs to be there, and it is irrespective of the fact a woman is in administration, in government, or in private sector, in corporate sector. So that balance definitely needs to be maintained. I would, I think, like to say it like this, that we have to prioritize. So which thing is more important at what time? And there may be some occasions in which our professional responsibilities might be having a little bit importance than our personal commitments. So that balance we all need to make. And sometimes it may so happen that our personal commitments, personal obligations need us to be at home, to be with our family. So that adjustment, that balance we all need to maintain. And I think women have been doing it very nicely and in right spirit. We all just need to keep our spirits high. I think it is very important that you have to be optimistic, you have to be positive. There has to be a clarity in your thought and understanding of what is your requirement, what is your goal in life. And I think slowly and steadily we all learn, we all end up in maintaining a good balance, whether it is a professional front or at a career front.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Next question is, like we have read your story as how you were juggling with your LLB, CS practice and your preparation for the civil services examination all at the same time. You are an inspiration for many women. Participants would like to know, how do you manage all these at the same time?
So I think I would just mention that it was way back in 2003 when I was doing my graduation from Shriram College of Commerce. And during that time, actually, I came across civil services. Till that time, I had no idea in my mind कि मेरे को civil services में जाना है. And at that time, I was also doing CS. So my 2 stages were complete. After my CS was complete, and I was in the 3rd year of graduation. So when I discussed this with my parents, especially my father, there were a lot of apprehensions. Firstly, it was a total shift from my being in corporate sector or in practice to a government setup. Then nobody in our family, we belong to a middle class business family in Panipat, Haryana. So nobody in our family had ever thought of appearing in civil services. So this was also a surprising shock for them. And then selection in civil services has been always very tough. So, and even after selection, which service you will get, which rank you will get, which cadre you will get, and settling the family life. All these challenges were there. So, but then when I discussed this, say approximately for 6-8 months, then my father said, okay, if you want to do, you should have a plan B in life. So by plan B, he said, ki if I am not able to clear civil services, then what will I do? Because he firmly believed that if you are having so much of education, a girl should be economically independent. She should be earning for her own self and family. So then I took his advice. 2003, I completed my graduation, become honors from Shri Ram College of Commerce. Then 2004, I completed my CS, and in 2004, I took admission in LLB from Delhi University. In the same year, I started my part-time job as CS to gain that experience and also to start earning for my own studies. And I also started preparing for civil services. So from 2004 to 2007, these three things were parallel in my life. Focus, of course, was on civil services preparation. I was doing part-time job as a CS, and I was also attending law, which was a LLB regular classes from Delhi University. So it was not easy. Of course, it was very difficult. I appeared for my first attempt in 2006 for civil services. I wrote mains, the second stage, but I did not get an interview call. Very much demotivated, dejected. I was confused. But then I recollected all my strength. And I said to myself, ki now the attempt which I would give, it would be my best attempt. I should give all my efforts possible. So in 2007, I wrote the exams with the blessings of Almighty, with support of my parents, my clarity of thought and direction. I could thankfully clear the civil services. The results came in May 2008, and I got All India rank 13th. So these years, specifically from 2004 to 2007-8, they were very tough for me, and balancing all this has been very difficult. But I think time management, clarity, then focus. You become selfish. In fact, you have to become selfish. If you want to achieve something in life, you have to become selfish with your own self. And I would like to mention that clearing civil services, I think, was much easier than surviving now. Now, as part of service, I have experienced that every day is a new challenge. You get unthoughtful scenarios, sometimes law and order issue, elections, VVIP duties, organizing some melas, visiting remote areas in the district. So all these have been very challenging, but at the same time, a very satisfying experience. I think I have learned a lot, and it has been quite a satisfying experience to be able to contribute towards the society and nation building in my own capacity as an administrator.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I would request our IT team, as a token of our respect and regard, we would like to present Shahid Ki Beti certificate for Madam Sonal Goel. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time, words of wisdom, and sharing of your rich experience and knowledge with the participants of the webinar. Thanks a lot. We look forward for your support in future endeavors of the Institute.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and my best wishes.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. We have another speaker with us, Madam Madhu Vij. Her topic of address is Gender Diversity in Corporate Boards, Strengthening Awareness. Before inviting Madam for address, I'll briefly read out his profile for the benefit of our participants. Dr. Madhu Vij is a professor of finance at Faculty of Management Studies, University of Delhi, with an experience of about 3 decades. Her professional and teaching interests include international finance, risk management, banking and financial services, corporate finance and accounting. Presently, she is council member of ICSI, government nominee, and professor with Faculty of Management University, University of Delhi. Management Studies, University of Delhi. Now I'll request the madam to kindly address the gathering.
Okay, thank you, Alka ji, and thank you, Alka ji, for all the support and all the guidance you have been giving us in the last few days. Good evening to all the participants, and a very, very warm welcome to the President, to the Vice President, the entire team at ICSI, and all the my young CAs who are, a part of this program. It's always good to be a part of, a celebration like this. A lot of us would say, why only one day as a Women Day? I think we need to welcome this one day, and we look forward to this one day. And let me also start with a quote. And, the famous saying, behind every successful man, there is a woman. Let me extend this a little further. Behind every successful woman, also there could be a man, there could be a family. In fact, there will be a man, there will be a family. The man in terms of her father or her husband. So I think that's the way we would want to achieve gender parity. And that is what we look for in gender balance. Let me also start by, accepting the fact and also publicizing this fact that success has no gender. And this has been proved by women themselves from different spheres of life, And they have proved this with their sincerity, perseverance, and focus on the kind of job which they are doing. A lot of women have broken stereotypes. So whether you talk of, I would say, the performing arts or medicine or sports or politics or education, it could be any field. But women, yes, have gone over the typical stereotypes. And I think we really need to thank the environment, thank the government, and thank a lot of people who are supporting us in this endeavor. Let me start by mentioning this year's International Women's Day theme. The UN has said that the theme for this year, which was also mentioned by our president, is gender equality today for a better tomorrow. In addition to that, UN has also emphasized two areas of focus, let me put it as. One is definitely gender equality. The other is climate change. And I think gender inequality and the climate crisis are two of the most urgent challenges which we are facing today. What could be the critical connections between gender, social equality, and climate change? But it is time we move our action towards all three of them. Let me bring in the role of women here. It is said and well accepted that women in their daily decision making or in their corporate decision making are more likely to consider their families and communities in the decision making process, which I would say is very crucial to producing the kind of holistic development or the holistic solution for making an effective climate action. Building gender diversity on boards, and more so with respect to independent directors, has become a little more favorite area of my discussion also. But before that, we could also, touch a little on, I would say, the whole role of gender diversity that continues to attract considerable attention, and how this needs to be taken by the corporate themselves. So there is a lot of discussion which talks about, is there a business case for appointing women on various levels in the management? So whether it's a middle level or the senior level or the top level. So for or against having them at various levels. The point here is, and the question also would be, what would be the special skill that a woman would bring to the table? And if that skill is a little special, then I think the whole question is taken care of. in terms of taking a decision, I would say, women do bring a separate, I would say, skill to the table. And, it could be, I would say, in the form of, the kind of approach they would have. Or, if you visualize, let's say, an organization, which is selling, let us say, fashionable products or beauty related products or products which have a little more demand from the women. Now, if you put in women in a managerial role there, I think they would be able to appreciate the issues, give the right corrective decision for the company to move forward. So this whole discussion of what is that specific quotient which a woman brings in, I think that sometimes, takes care of in types of, let me put it as the kind of organization we are dealing with. Also, having women at various positions, and I would say the middle level and the senior level, acts, it acts as a guidance to the young professionals. Now, if I talk about the company professionals here, let's say the company secretaries, the kind of qualification you have, I've always been saying, in my discussions, that probably you are the only professional qualification, you have the only professional qualification which allows you to gain experience, sit on a company board at a very young age. And that is where we need to leverage our strength and take these learnings miles ahead. There is always an issue which is highlighted when it comes to hiring of women, or when it comes to, whether you call it the glass ceiling, or you think of women occupying the leadership position. There's a phenomena called talent leakage or the leaky pipeline. And that is also being focused a lot here. Now, in disciplines where there is supposedly, I'm saying supposedly, a gender bias, women tend to feel isolated at the middle level or at the top level, and sometimes they do tend to drop out. What would this mean? Because they tend to drop out for various reasons. And as the previous speaker was mentioning, probably those are the very years when you are thinking of a family. So, it's the nature part of it, but let us come to that later. But what would this need from the corporates? Now, that is what we need to emphasize. The reason may be different, but how do corporates take care of this leaky pipeline? They need to embrace, so it would be across, they need to embrace scale flexibility around the location of the workforce of women, give specific facility for work from home, have flexi work hours, extended maternity leave, which is absolutely there in the present scenario, and you could have a host of other levers. For example, I know a few multinationals who have creches in their organization. Now, all this is aimed at giving a little comfort to the women in terms of those initial formative years. And if organizations were to take care of this supposedly talent leakage, I think this would go a long way in improving, having women at very senior positions. It would also help in having a little more, I would say, gender parity on boards and having women at senior levels in organization. So this, or taking care of the leaky pipeline, would ensure that we have a stronger talent flow to various levels of senior leadership positions in organization. The results, in fact, being an academician myself, one has read a lot of studies on gender diversity, and we have also done a few studies to find out, does gender diversity improve company performance or not? And let us be very honest here, the results have been mixed. So there is, in terms of company performance, there is no business case, I would say, of appointing or not appointing women directors, women independent directors. And let me also say, when I'm talking of appointing women directors, I'm also talking of women in senior management roles. Okay. So, and in fact, during this study, we also tried to find out, is being the only woman on board a disadvantage? And I myself is an independent director in about 4 companies. And honestly, let me tell you, in my entire last 10 years, one has never, God willing, faced gender discrimination. So, I think this is again one specific aspect which I would like to emphasize. And with this as a focus, recently, we were going to publish an article which is going to come out in the company secretary issue next month, or probably, it will be released on the Women's Day itself. And, we talked to a few independent directors and a few people at the very senior management. And it was across, so we did not have any gender bias in our study. And our question was, do you think there is still a huge amount to be done to build gender diversity on board? We got a lot of frank responses, in terms of our questionnaire study. And I'll just highlight 1 or 2 or 3 of these thoughts which emerged. Very rightly so. One young senior management person, she is in fact a partner with one of the consulting companies, she emphasized that it is not gender diversity. We should focus on professional diversity. And focus on professional diversity would be a natural offshoot of ensuring that, our middle level women reach the top and do not drop out at various stages. So, our request to the companies would be, please set up a proactive tone for hiring in the organization. What does it do? It helps young women to dream big. Okay. And in fact, we were also reading, and during the course of our article, there was a very interesting comment which was made by, a partner. And she says, the narrative today should be counting women on board to making women on board count. So it's counting women on board. So rather than counting women on board, let us have making women on board count. There's another thought also which, was emphasized by one of, again, a very senior partner in one of the consulting companies. And apart from, how various countries have done to improve, having women reach that position, his thought was, he says, we all do want gender diversity on board. But he says, I strongly feel that one cannot suddenly, overnight find a ton of women who can bring value to the board. And if there are limited numbers available, then the rules need to be relooked to allow the existing women directors to potentially sit on maybe 10 boards or 15 boards or any other number which our regulator has decided instead of the cap of 10 which is there. What will this do? This will help or allow real talent to find their way into a board, rather than what we sometimes hear these days is a tick in the box approach, So a lot of companies, it has been said that for them, appointing a women director is more like a tick in the box, which is something I think one would never propagate, So not even propagate. I would say this will only diminish it. It will only diminish the respect for value that women directors actually bring to the board and various leadership positions. Before I close, I would say bringing women on board, appointing women on board and senior leadership position, but ignoring their contribution may not really add value to them in the long run. Their viewpoint needs to be included in the right spirit so that their ideas, perspectives, and views are included in the decision making of the organization. A lot of times, on a very lighter note, a lot of times you find that when a woman is making a point in some companies, the other 2 or 3 directors would start talking or probably not pay attention. And the same would be true for an organization in a meeting. Ultimately, it is the duty of the CEO or the chairperson or whoever is leading the organization to ensure that all board members speak up, their views are respected, and this would pave the way for the best decision making, because it is said that the kind of decision diversity brings in. We are talking about professional diversity, yes, but there is a level of emotional diversity also which you get into a board, and probably this would lead to better decision making. And at the end of it, what would this do? This would help in creating a better pipeline for future leaders. Let me close my talk by a famous quote by Nancy Reagan, if I am remembering correctly. And I find that quote sums it all up. And she says, and it's a very old quote, she says, a woman is like a tea bag. You cannot tell how strong she is until you put her in hot water. So thank you once again to the President, to the Vice President and ICSI and Alkaji for giving me an opportunity to express this. Thank you so much.
So much, ma'am, for your words of wisdom, sharing of rich experience you are carrying. Thank you so much. Now we'll be asking few of the questions as are asked by the participants of the webinar. One would be like, even though government, regulators and companies are striving for diversity in corporate boards, but in reality there has been little progress on this front. What are the reasons for this slow progress? I'll be requesting your views on the same.
Okay, let me honestly admit, yes, even though the regulators have been insisting, there is little progress. one genuine reason is the leaky pipeline, which I was talking about. So what happens is, women tend to drop out at various levels for whatever reasons. But the good part here is the new education policy has very rightly and appropriately emphasized the importance of primary education. I think that's where it all starts from. And I would also say that no one gives you the power. You have to take it yourself. So it's the kind of maturity which, women need to show. And once that gets demonstrated, I think, the whole process can be flowing a little more smoothly. And as I had also mentioned in my, speech here, companies also need to put in a lot of flexibility in those initial 4 or 5 years, which are the formative years in a woman's life. And I would say if you built in that flexibility, I think there's no stopping having the requisite number at various senior positions.
Thank you so much. Another question is, what are the personal traits of women that changes the board dynamics and help improve the board performance?
I'll tell you the basic personal trait of women is to churn out unique perspectives. How do I put it? In a lot of companies, more women on board, or at least having 1 or 2 women on board, they have a direct link with understanding the products of the company. Okay. And, for instance, let me just say, a board full of men may not be able to understand, let's say, if an HUL thinks of introducing his products, beauty products, whether it's a shampoo or a soap or anything like that. So, products targeted exclusively at women is one such focus. And as I mentioned, and which is the objective of United Nations, and which, if you read their charter this year, they have specifically mentioned that women are more likely to consider their families and communities and have a little soft angle in taking a decision. So I would say it is both professional diversity and gender diversity, and these are the important personal traits which a woman brings to the table. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was on mute. The Board of Directors forms one of the pillars of a robust corporate governance framework. In your view, how effective have been the regulatory prescriptions to promote gender diversity in corporate boards?
See, 2 points here. One, I would say you need an open-minded approach for appointing women to leadership positions and management positions. And honestly, yes, a lot has been done by the regulator, from 2013 when our new companies came, when our Companies Act came. But it is still work in process. Okay? So it may be good to first focus on building the CXO level, including the C-suite with capable women. Okay. The point here is entry level in all organizations sees a lot of women, but as they move up the ladder, they tend to, it tends to drop off for many reasons. So I think building the CXO level pipeline is one great solution which will go a long way in taking care of senior leadership positions in various organizations. And I don't know, Alka, you can hear me or not, but let me also tell you here. After the Act 2013, India has fared much better than Asia, as a whole in gender diversity and corporate governance. In fact, if you look at some of the figures, the Nifty 500 companies I think it was sometime in 2014 or 15, had only 6% women independent directors. And if you look at the figure in 2021, it is 17%. So I think that's where the shift is. It's gradual, but by no means I would say that, in terms of having women on board, we are lagging much behind than the other developed countries also. So we have done fairly well. I would say we've done fairly well.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. The last question to you is, kindly suggest some of the actions that can be taken by the organizations to improve diversity on boards. It's the other way question like.
Okay. Let me first, say what we read a lot of times when we read literature on women independent directors, that, this whole regulatory prescription to promote gender diversity has brought in, or has closed the last of the all boys club, which was the men. Okay, so this was the last of the all boys club, and now you have the entry of women here. So what could be the actions taken? The action taken, I think, would be what kind of facilities we give to our middle level management, young girls, And like I was hearing the previous speaker, all of us in our career at various stages. So I still remember when I was doing my doctorate, your children are small, there are demands to be met. I mean, it's a very difficult time for you. But if you get over that period, I think there's no looking back. And once again, during this lockdown, honestly, I had a daughter-in-law who had twins. But the work from home helped us all so much. We were able to raise the children for 2 years. So, there is a balancing factor in each one of our lives. So let me put it as flexi working hours, work from home, the whole, a little more, I would say, a little more softer approach to women. And if I try and just give one guidance or advice to our young women, there are a lot of these company secretaries, and which I have given to my own children, to my own daughter and daughter-in-law. I've always told them that if you want a career, please make sure you are on the best of terms with your mother and mother-in-law. They are the two people who will ensure that even when you falter, you will, give a push to them. So I think that is more important. All those government regulatory restrictions will keep on coming. But what could I do at my end? I think that would be the balancing factor. But thank you so much. It's been lovely talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for responding to the queries by citing your personal examples. Thanks a lot. Now we are at the end of this webinar. Before concluding, I must acknowledge that the presence of 3 eminent speakers, their words of wisdom, have made this International Women's Day webinar a very special one. We are very grateful to the esteemed speakers for sparing their time amidst their very busy schedule and sharing their valuable thoughts. I am sure that the rich experience and thoughts shared by the speakers would inspire the budding professionals to aim high and achieve their goals. The guidance and examples cited by the speakers will go a long way in shaping the future company secretaries. Before concluding, I must acknowledge the address by Madam Madhu, which was so inspiring for the participants. As a token of our respect and regard, I will request the presentation of Shaheed Ki Beti certificates for ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your rich knowledge, words of wisdom and experience with the participants. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so
much. Thank you all the participants for joining the webinar. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.